Hello, everyone. We're going to wait a few minutes just to give everybody a chance to get in. So we've got a few more people we're expecting. So let's just give them 2 minutes and then, or another minute, and then we'll start. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Welcome to JMT's Purchasing and AP Automation webinar. My name is Shazida Tika, and I am the Director of Professional Services, and I'm pleased to host your webinar today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about JMT. JMT was founded in 1991 by Jackie Tiso to help nonprofits achieve their mission of helping others. Everything we do is focused on helping nonprofits achieve their goals. JMT focuses on management and finance solutions only for nonprofits. We consult, recommend, then implement and support. But this focus and commitment would mean little if it weren't for decades of expertise that JMT brings to each client engagement. Our unique solutions and support processes guarantee that your relationship with JMT is both long-term and successful. Our expertise also allows us to mitigate risk, anticipate needs, and make holistic recommendations. Where we operate, JMT has clients across the United States and Canada, with over 2,000 nonprofits count on us to deliver finance, development, and productivity solutions that meet their goals of sustainability and mission effectiveness. JMT has an office in Nashville, Tennessee, and employs a remote workforce. These are some of our partners. Housekeeping notes: if you have a question, please submit your questions in the question box on your control panel, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. Today's recording and slides will be emailed to you following the webinar, and we will ask a couple of interactive questions along the way. And with that, I'd like to introduce Annabelle Sim, who is the VP of Global Sales at Compleat, one of our partners.
Thank you for the
Annabelle, I'm going to stop sharing.
Let me share my screen. Hopefully you can all see my screen now. Thank you for joining today's webinar. And just to introduce myself, I'm Annabelle, the VP of Sales at Compleat Software. I've been working with the company for 7.5 years and work closely with our direct customers and partners, including JMT, to provide best-in-class purchasing and accounts payable automation to their clients. So in today's webinar, I will be introducing Compleat Software and our Purchasing Accounts Payable solution, which extends the functionality within Sage Intacct and MIP and integrates seamlessly with these applications. Really, to control spend at point of purchase with integrated online buying with your chosen vendors that you purchase from, dynamic approval workflow, and accounts payable automation to automatically capture header and line level data of your vendor invoices, process for approval, and match these back to orders that have been raised. A little bit of information about Compleat before we get started in terms of kind of features, benefits, and functionality, and the agenda for today. So I'll start by providing an overview of Compleat software, the main pain points that we address, and the benefits of adopting our solution. I'll provide a live demonstration and spend quite a bit of time in the product so you can see how it works. And then we'll end with some customer feedback and have time for some questions at the end as well. So Compleat Software was founded in 2008 in the UK and launched in the US in 2019. We have over 30,000 users located in 12 different countries, and we work closely with JMT, as mentioned, so their clients can easily benefit from our system with our partnership. We process millions of invoices each year through our invoice capture technology and have real-time integrations with both Sage Intacct and MIP, as well as integrations with over 25 accounting systems. So here, really, starting your digital transformation journey means removing the manual steps involved in receiving vendor invoices, storing invoices, approvals that are commonly via email, and removing the need to key invoice data into your finance system. This can be achieved when all vendor invoices are emailed to our solution, either directly from your vendors, or an auto forward can be set up from your current accounts mailbox. We process invoices in any format, including PDF, Word, Excel, and we capture both header and line level data using AI technology, which removes the manual processing steps, increases accuracy, control with duplicate invoice checking, and PO matching. Finance gain real-time visibility over the status of every invoice, and approvals are streamlined with notifications, approval nudges, and a visible approval timeline throughout the system, with the real-time integration to post approved invoices to both Sage Intacct and MIP or the finance system that you might be using. With this automation, you can achieve up to 90% in productivity gains, time savings with default coding, automation rules, giving you the time back to spend on more impactful activities. This outlines our end-to-end journey from making the purchase with your chosen vendor, receiving the invoice, and integrating with your finance system. For many nonprofits, having visibility over the cost commitments, encumbrances, and approvals prior to the order being raised with a vendor is fundamental to control spending. As well as considering the time it takes to process invoices by matching them back to an order that could have been raised online, via email, or by phoning up a vendor, potentially across many locations or departments. So Compleat is driven to centralize and automate this process to so you can receive that transparency and control from point of request to purchase with your vendors, which includes functionality, integrated online buying with Amazon Business, Granger, McKesson, to name a few, and over 50 e-commerce vendor websites that we currently integrate with, which can be extended out to any of your preferred vendors as well. The request will be routed to your required approvals, and Compleat is optimized on any device, so this can be done quickly, easily, and with the best user experience to anyone who might need to purchase across the nonprofit. as well as invoices being automatically captured and matched to your purchase orders and posted to your accounting system. Your finance team will only need to manage invoice exceptions that require their review, and invoices that match or are aligned can be automated through the application without requiring human intervention. Lastly, before going into the demonstration, there are key benefits to adopting purchasing and accounts payable automation or upgrading your current solution. These include the purchasing automation side. Making it very simple with the integrated online buying is key. So your users can buy directly from your preferred vendors without the need to enter this information manually. So not needing to raise a purchase request and add this information in themselves. We are the only provider offering integrated online buying with any vendor website, including the first Amazon Business punch-in integration delivered in 2020. Dynamic approval workflows, also a key piece of functionality. Our workflows are multi-tiered and flexible to ensure the required approval structures are met to route your orders or invoices based on different conditions, including locations, grants, funds, vendors, value thresholds, providing you with more options and quick approvals on any device. Thirdly, you can benefit from the digital invoice capture and matching solution. Go paperless and remove the manual data entry within the accounts payable process with efficiency gains, as mentioned, which can be as high as 90%. Invoice matching against your POs means you'll be able to automate invoices that match what has been agreed and only review what you need to. Any direct invoices without a purchase order can be also easily captured, coded and sent for approval and posted into the finance system. And last but not least, the real-time integrations with both MIP and Sage Intacct is essential for a seamless end-to-end solution. Your list of vendors, analysis codes, custom codes, whatever you might be using will be synced directly into Compleat, so you can seamlessly manage your orders and invoices. And approved invoices will be automatically posted in real time to your finance system to remove the headache of having to key them in or import them. It's all streamlined with API integrations. Before we go into the demonstration, this is a good time to ask you all an interactive question about how you purchase with vendors currently. And then I can show you as part of the demonstration how our purchasing automation integrated online buying works with various vendors as well. So on screen now, you should be able to see my my system. Compleat is a cloud-based application. You can log in on any web browser, and the user can either log in with their email address and password, or can leverage the Microsoft Azure single sign-on as part of the system functionality capabilities as well. So if I just log into the system here, the user will be able to see any information which is relevant to their role. And I did see from the survey there's quite a number of attendees that are buying online from vendor websites. So one of the examples I'll show you will be most relevant then, which is good. And we can look at all options in terms of automating the end-to-end journey. For the sake of the demo, I'm just going to turn off my video and I'll turn it back on at the end. So each user logging into the system will be able to see the information which is relevant to their role. So if they're a user who is buying with vendors, they'll be able to create new purchase orders or manage purchase orders that have been raised. Any accounts payable finance users will be able to manage incoming invoices and process any invoices as required. Admin users will be able to add users, change workflows after the initial implementation, which is all very easy to use, easy to make any changes yourselves as required as well. You'll be able to see there's a centralized email address where all invoices can be sent to automate this invoice capture process that I introduced to remove the manual data entry for you in regards to the invoices that are arriving or being sent from your vendors currently. This email address will be your company name and will be reflected on the entity. So if you have multiple entities set up within your finance system, then we can also set those up within Compleat as well. The first example I'll be showing is buying online with one of our vendor websites. You can see here we've got a wide range available to us. This can be tailored per client and will depend on the vendors that you transact with. So this is an example to show you the automation that is available with this functionality. I'll click on Amazon Business to start with so we can have a look at how we will go directly to the vendor website. We will shop as normal to decide, actually, let's buy a laptop today. We can add the items to our basket. And then what you'll be able to see is a button here which says submit these items for approval. So where this process currently with a vendor website might be separate, or you may lack visibility of what's been purchased against certain funds, grants, departments, locations, etc. This integrated solution automatically captures the basket information from Amazon or the vendor website that you're purchasing with to auto-complete a purchase request within our system. This also automatically populates the item codes, the descriptions, the values, and then there are additional rules that can be put in place to define either a defaulted or restricted options when it comes to GL codes based on vendors that you're purchasing with. And also users that are raising orders can be defaulted to a certain department or location, or might only be able to raise orders against a certain grant fund, etc. So all of that can be tailored to your requirements there. You can see the delivery address is also automated or auto-selected, which all of this data is fully integrated from your finance system. So this is linked to your vendors, your vendor list, and any of your analysis codes that are set up within the finance system as well. If you do want to add any notes, attachments, you can do so as required. You can edit any of the analysis codes, and then you can send this request for approval. So this request has been submitted in this scenario to the operations department based on the department that has been allocated against the requisition. And this can be tailored based on your appropriate approval levels and how you want the approval workflow to be defined, which we can go on to in just a second. Logging off and logging on as an approval user, we can automatically notify users when there is a request or invoice pending their approval. We can send them nudges and reminders to make sure approvals are done in a timely manner, and also optimized on any device. So, approving on a mobile, or clicking a link from an email notification that we've sent them to direct them to the requisition awaiting their authorization. In this example, we're just going to log in and have a look at orders that are pending our approval and simply view the detail and decide whether we want to approve, deny. We can add comments. We can edit codes that can be enabled per approver, depending on what makes sense. And if, let's say, we're happy with it, we can, all fine with me, add comments, approve. And because we are the only approver required for that particular request, because it's a small value item, there might be an additional approval level over a certain $500, for example, which would trigger a secondary approval. As I'm the only approver required, we'll be able to see this order has moved into the approved tray page. I was a little bit quick there. So approved tray page, and the order has been automatically issued back to Amazon Business electronically as part of the two-way integration with the vendor's website. So the user doesn't have to create a purchase order, doesn't have to go back to the website. That order is automatically completed, and Amazon will then ship the goods and send the invoice automatically to that centralized email address as well to streamline the end-to-end journey. With any non-integrated vendors, then you can also create requisitions as required, decide what items you want to purchase, and you can send purchase orders also to vendors via email as required. So now we've ordered the items from Amazon, let's go back to our finance or centralized user to have a look at the invoicing side. Oh, excuse me, I've just logged in too many different demo sites. If I log back into our original user, we'll be able to go to our Manage Invoices section and review any invoices that have arrived and either require our review or have been automatically matched and processed off the back of the order. So now is a good time. We have a couple of additional questions for the audience about your current accounts payable process. So I'm just going to pause while we learn a bit more about how you're currently processing invoices with the questions that will arrive on screen in just a second. While you answer those, I am just going to click into the Manage Invoices section and just explain some of the basics around it before we go into the invoice example. You'll be able to see the same as with the ordering side, the system is filtering transactions based on their status with these tray pages, which you can see at the top. So any invoices requiring our review or attention can be sent into the unprocessed tray page. Any invoices that have been submitted for approval will be visible here. And then any approved invoices will be posted automatically to the finance system. I can see quite a number of you are not using a solution or have a relatively manual accounts payable process. So I can provide more information about how the digital invoice capture process works, matching if the purchase ordering and integrated online buying side is relevant, and how this can be synced seamlessly to your finance system. So in the unprocessed tray, you'll be able to see the invoices that have been extracted. So just a reminder, we are automatically extracting the header and line level data via our AI technology and downloading those invoices into Compleat for processing. So invoices here, the digital invoice capture process has already taken place, and we are simply telling you whether it requires your review or potentially those invoices that match or invoices that have automatic rules allocated to them can be automatically sent for approval, or matched invoices could be automatically sent and posted into your finance system. all configurable based on where you want to get to with your automation levels and what invoices you want to see or interact with. Any exceptions will most certainly come into this unprocessed tray and require your attention. So an example would be, if there's a duplicate invoice, if an invoice comes in for a value over what has been agreed at the purchase order stage, then an overmatch or overvalue invoice will be flagged for review, can be sent for approval, queried as required. And then also any invoices that don't have purchase orders, you may simply want to receive invoices, send them for approval. Absolutely fine as well. We can extract the data. They can be coded, approved, and posted into the finance system too. We'll have a look at that in a second, but let's just have a look at an invoice, Amazon Business invoice here. So we have extracted the header level detail, including the invoice date, the invoice number, the values. We have matched them against a purchase order number and values to determine whether it is a match or a discrepancy. So in this case, it is a match, which is great. We can see the invoice on the left-hand side and any supporting documents that have been sent in with the invoice from the vendor will be attached. So all invoices will be stored within our cloud-based solution and also transferred to the finance system. For example, with Sage Intacct, which we will have a look at as part of the demo, we will transfer the PDF image of the invoice into the attachments folder for your review, either within Compleat or Intacct as required. We can edit any of the codes at this stage, so we can inherit the information off of the order if it's populated at that stage, or you have the ability to amend codes as required. And you can even, go to the edit screen and you can see any of these fields have been opened up, header or line, depending on how your solution is configured. So you have control over this. You can, duplicate or add additional lines if required. If you want to make any edits, you can do that as well. If not, you can submit for approval or automatically post these into the finance system. Just as an example here, you can see, all of your analysis codes will be available. These are the GL account codes within Intacct. You can search as well any information, whether it's the number or the word as well. So all very flexible to interact and allocate any coding as required. So if I just submit this on the kind of automatic accounts payable workflow, which is just going to automatically transfer this invoice into the finance system, and then we can have a look at what that looks like within the finance system as well. As another example, we can have a look at the invoice that has no purchase order against it. Just hang on 1 second. I should just reconnect my Wi-Fi. Let me just log back in and refresh. Okay, so we can log back in, and then what we can do is have a look at the invoice directly within Sage Intacct, as well as that invoice has been captured and it's been automatically approved by the accounts payable team because it matches the order, and it would be automatically posted to the accounts payable bills section within Sage Intacct in this example. And we'll be able to see the invoice header and line level information, as well as the invoice attachment as well. So if I just scroll down, we can see all of the relevant information that has been posted automatically, the coding that has been applied on the invoice, the description, and then we can also see the PDF image of the invoice, which has been transferred and is accessible within the finance system as well. So not only are we retrieving all of your relevant analysis codes, vendor lists, delivery sites, etc., we are also automatically posting in real time invoices that have been authorized or reviewed within the Compleat application too. Lastly, if we just go to manage invoices and look at the other example here, which was a direct invoice with no purchase order, you'll be able to see we're still capturing the header and line level information, and we can quickly and easily set up any vendor defaults as well. So with my configuration, I've got quite a lot of analysis code set up within Sage Intacct, but this would just reflect your particular code. So if you had fund, grant, department, location, for example, these can be defaulted as required and automatically allocated against invoices that get downloaded into Compleat, or you might want to change or select coding as required against either one line, multiple lines, etc. So you can decide how you want to code invoices, which is very easy to do down to the line level as well. Just a note on the approval workflow, if you do code invoices at line level, we can trigger multiple different approvers that are required simultaneously, which is a really powerful functionality within the workflow. Just moving into the workflow to quickly show you the capabilities there. So we can have workflows set up based on invoices or orders, or consistent across both. And then we can configure your rules based on how you want them to be routed. So if there's particular fund or department, location, combination of, any value thresholds, whether it's one step, multiple steps, that can all be easily configured, changed and updated as required. So the journey and user experience has really been built to make it as easy as possible for you to gain the flexibility that you need, but also to change and administer the platform as required as well. I'm going to pause because there is a last question that we're going to ask everyone about your finance system that you use, and we can kind of gain an understanding of which one is most relevant, the integration which is most relevant to you. While you answer that, obviously there's limited time in the webinar today. So much more I could show you in terms of managing budgets or reports, the configuration, defaults, etc. But for today, I'm just going to go back to the slide deck and finish on just some customer feedback that we've had before opening it up to any of the questions that have been asked. So I hope the demonstration has provided you with a good overview of the functionality available, even though it was a quick run through today, and the benefits of adopting our solution for control, visibility, as well as time savings and automation. Here on this slide, there are those calling out the reduction in manual tasks, speeding up of processing times, and significant time savings within the accounts payable process in general, system efficiencies, and our supportive team that we have when you go live with any questions that you might have, as well as the ease of purchasing with the online vendors such as Amazon, which we've shown today, which means the finance team no longer needs to worry about duplicates or mistakes, and brings peace of mind to the nonprofit. I'm going to stop sharing. Thanks very much for having me. We'll now look at questions, and I will pass back to Shaz.
Thank you, Annabelle. So we do have a couple of questions. For the online buying feature, can approval flow be customized by account number if our company has multiple accounts with the same vendor, for example, McKesson?
By account number, look to understand what that means. But yes, the approval workflow can be tailored either by vendor, or it can be by more granular information. So that could be any of your analysis codes, users, etc. So if you do have multiple accounts with one supplier or vendor, then you could have multiple different approval routes. We would just want to delve into that a bit more with you to understand the most automated route, whether you've got different kind of entities set up, or whether you're working at top level and use codes to define, or users, groups of users that define the route that the approval would need to take.
Thank you. Does the MIP integration require manual import, export, or is it truly fully integrated?
It is built on API integration, so there isn't any manual import, export. It is we are the only provider that has an API integration with MIP to automate both the transfer of approved invoice data, and also to sync with the vendor list, analysis segments, user-defined fields. It does look at all of those analysis fields, as well as distribution codes, and any fields that you might be using.
Okay, thank you. How does the system handle multiple departments per purchaser, or is the account department editable?
Yes, so the department is editable. You can allocate different departments at line level, which can trigger multiple approval workflows for one order or invoice if required. So that kind of simultaneous and flexibility around the approval workflow really comes into play in those scenarios. And also you can restrict departments as well. So for a group of users, they may only be able to purchase or approve invoices against one department, or there might be particular users or user groups that can allocate orders or invoices against multiple departments. And we have that kind of security framework and rules that can be allocated per user or group of users as required.
Okay, thank you. Can MIP distribution codes be used with Compleat?
Yes, so we would integrate with the MIP distribution codes. You would allocate the distribution code against the order or invoice. When the invoice is posted to MIP, the distribution or calculation would then automatically apply. So the distribution calculation wouldn't happen in Compleat, but the code would be allocated, and then the relevant distribution would be triggered once integrated into MIP. So if you have, multiple locations, you've got one invoice that's going to be allocated or proportioned out based on a particular distribution code. Yes.
Okay, thank you. What if we have a posting approval process in Intact? Would it follow the approval process in Intact?
Posting approval process. Trying to think exactly what is meant there, but the approval of invoices for our Intact customers would usually happen within Compleat. So any invoice approval would be triggered within the Compleat application itself, and then once approved would be posted into Sage Intact, either as draft, or it can be automatically sent as a posted invoice to the ledgers. So I'm not sure where your approval workflow is coming into play in Sage Intact. Happy to take that with you and define what the optimal route and controls need to be based on your current setup and the functionality that resides within our system. Yeah, so either or, but commonly the approval workflow would all happen within our system because of the flexibility and everything kind of happening within the same system for control and automation.
Are the purchase orders entered into Intact for reporting?
Good question. So usually the purchase orders would reside within Compleat to leverage the additional functionality that we have around the kind of purchasing and approval process and triggering the purchase orders, as well as invoice matching. However, many of our customers would have the commitments or encumbrances kind of imported as journals within Sage Intacct. So you have that visibility of cost commitments, for example, within Intacct, as well as the actuals that we're posting with the invoice image itself. So that would be the most common use case. If there is a requirement for anything different to that, then we do have flexibility around importing or exporting POs via our PO API as required as well.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How does the system determine which accounting general ledger code to use?
Sure. From a purchasing perspective, then either that could be defaulted or restricted based on the department or the location or the vendor. So in the Amazon business example, because it's a marketplace, there might be 4 GL or accounting codes that you would allocate against goods that you're buying from that particular vendor. There might be a different vendor that you just purchase a certain type of item from, and therefore that might be defaulted to just one GL or account code for ease and simplicity. Equally, if you have particular departments or locations and you want to restrict the GL codes that are relevant to them and that user or group of users raising an order, then we can also do that. So either a default where appropriate or a restriction of a subset of the GL or account codes for automation and ease of use, really, for end users not having too many decisions where it's not relevant. From an invoicing perspective, then we can inherit the coding if applied at order stage. If there isn't an order, it's a direct invoice, or you're looking to kind of default codes against invoices only, then a GL account code could be defaulted against a vendor at that level as well, to kind of auto complete or populate that analysis field when receiving an invoice from that vendor.
Okay, thank you. Any possibility of adding other features like credit card spend, employee expense reimbursement approval in the future? This would make a perfect solution for MIP.
Good question. So we do partner with an expense management solution. I think JMT partner with expense management solution. So there are kind of best of breed expense management solutions that do everything to do with expenses when it comes to out-of-pocket expenses, taking pictures of receipts, capturing the data, dealing with mileage or subsistence user claims that might be reimbursable back to them, as well as sort of the credit card side. Some of our clients do send in kind of claims or credit card statements into our capture engine to automatically capture, line level information, coding, and posting that information into the finance system. Most certainly, elements of that will be introduced into our system to make that more automated and streamlined. But we will. I don't think we'll be adding all of the functionality when it comes to a full best of breed kind of expense management solution.
Okay, thank you. Does Compleat work with utility companies?
Utility companies. So we receive many invoices from utility companies, usually as direct or non-PO invoices where we're capturing, extracting the data. Those analysis defaults can be applied as discussed. Either they can be sent for approval or auto submitted into MIP or Intacct if that is relevant, if you're expecting the cost and it's monthly, etc. Or orders can be raised based on either agreed or predicted values on kind of monthly, quarterly costs that might be incurred as well.
Thank you. How would this system work if you have MIP but no purchasing module?
If you have MIP but no purchasing module. So if you were just using the Compleat Accounts Payable system and not our purchasing module, I think that's the question, or you might be talking about purchasing module within MIP, but we're just integrating with the accounts payable within MIP and Sage Intact. So that wouldn't matter. You can opt to use obviously our purchasing system if that's going to be beneficial as seen in the demonstration, or you can just use the accounts payable within Compleat and MIP in order to digitally capture and process invoices and post to MIP.
Okay, thank you. Is there a specific purchase order template to be used for uploading, or will the software interactively read any invoice purchase order?
So there's two questions that could be derived from that. In terms of the PO template, that can be configured in Compleat per entity. So the PO that you would be sending to vendors in terms of I want to buy X, Y, and Z can be tailored, logo, colors, terms and conditions, etc. In terms of the invoices that we're receiving, then that would be in any format or vendor template that they send to us. Our capture and extraction tool via AI is interacting with any format or PDF, Word, Excel, and however they lay it out on the invoice, and it will learn how that vendor submits the invoice, what they call certain things, what detail they provide in order to efficiently capture and extract that information and download that into Compleat for processing. I'm not 100% sure on the question, so I thought I'd answer both that it could have been implied on.
You did good. As invoice discrepancies are addressed by the user in Intact, after auto import from Compleat, does Compleat's system learn from those corrections for future invoice processing?
Corrections within Intact. So if something is edited within Intact, then it wouldn't be populated within Compleat. So no, not in that sense. However, within Compleat, you can interact within the user interface if you do want to change any of the kind of defaults or rules that are applied. So then, you're layering up and increasing that automation over time. And there's also have tolerances that you can set up at invoice stage. So if there was, a small value discrepancy from order to invoice, then those can be kind of automatically accepted within the parameters that you wish. So both of those tools are geared towards increasing automation over time and reducing errors. Just to quickly add, duplicate invoice checking is between Compleat and Sage Intact. So we'll be checking both systems when doing validation and security checks like that.
Okay. Does Compleat have a mobile app?
So we are fully optimized on mobile now. Fundamentally, it provides all of the functionality on the browser that I've shown on a mobile device, which is, the best way to provide the most functionality and to have it continuously updated to our end users, whether it be ordering, approving, or otherwise. So yes, accessible on any mobile device. Absolutely.
Okay, so I have a clarifying question. So for clarification, are there currently expense management solutions that integrate with Compleat? I'm interested in knowing if the data from an expense management solution can flow through Compleat for AP processing and to leverage the integration with MIP for data import. That was a lot.
Not flowing through Compleat currently, but if you're currently using expense management solution, which sounds like it may be the case, that doesn't integrate with MIP, then happy to have the conversation. Let's maybe schedule a call and we can look at that. Commonly, the expense management solution would post directly into MIP, but obviously, understandably, if there's not a real-time integration, that might not be the easiest of combined solutions. So happy to look at the provider that you're using or solution that you currently have to see if we can work with it to make it more automated.
Okay. How does Compleat handle out-of-stock items, substitutions, and returns for damaged items?
Sure. So two things to say here. Compleat does have its own receipting functionality. So receipting or deliveries can be enabled per vendor. So if you do want to raise an order and then confirm the items, goods that have been received in, that can be done either based on quantity or value at line level. So you could have full, partial receipting, as it would be called within the Compleat application. If there was an item that you're not accepting, then you can cancel items, put reasons, reference, attachments, etc. within that receipting function to manage that scenario. What Compleat doesn't do is manage stock levels. So if you do manage stock, raise orders, and then have a certain amount of items that you have left, and then you're kind of replenishing and reordering items based on stock levels, then that would commonly occur within the finance system where you're raising those purchase orders against stock. Compleat can integrate with third-party systems to capture POs and deliveries within our system to manage the invoice capture and matching process integrated into the finance system, but it would require a conversation about what you're using currently and what the optimal end-to-end journey would be to increase automation.
Okay, thank you. What are the reporting features that Compleat offers, vendor or AP analysis?
Yep. So we've got many out-of-the-box reports available, including tracking vendor spending, activity reports such as invoices pending approval. So you can see what is outstanding, how many days outstanding it is. So those kind of efficiencies and streamlining the approval workflow is really important. Financial reports to track commitments and encumbrances within Compleat, which can also be formatted and imported into Intact, for example, or your finance system to update journals for commitment and encumbrance reporting as well. So yeah, lots of useful reports to track and analyze spend as well as outstanding transactions and financial reports that you need to be aware of. There is also a budget monitoring functionality within Compleat, so you can track where you are, commitments, encumbrances, and actual spend against certain fund budgets or project budgets, etc.
Okay, thank you. Two last questions. What accounting systems does Compleat integrate with?
That is a long list of finance systems that we integrate with. To name a few, we integrate with obviously MIP, Cloud, On-Premise, Sage Intact, Sage 50 Peachtree, QuickBooks, Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite, many finance systems that we've integrated with. So happy to provide more information on those based on the finance system that you currently use.
Okay, and what is the estimated implementation timeline?
Good question. So it will depend on size and complexity of the customer's requirements. In terms of every implementation, we'll have core project activities that we will do to ensure that the implementation is successful. So system design to understand configuration, workflows, etc. We will configure and integrate the system into the finance system, as well as go through a bit of testing with the client to make sure everything's working as they want it to, as well as kind of end user and admin training. So those activities would be booked out usually over a 4-week period, dependent on the clients and our availability. And in total would be around a minimum 3-4 days effort for all of those activities. Would take more time with multi-entity or larger user volumes, or where there's more complex requirements.
Okay, thank you, Annabelle. Great presentation. So finally, we have some contact information for you. Thank you very much for attending. We're happy to follow up with demos. So do get in touch with us if you have any additional questions. Thank you so much. We will be forwarding the webinar recording to you.
Thank
Thanks
you
again,
everyone for
Annabelle.
joining.
Thanks. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.